Megan.
And I'm Holly.
And we are Worn Out Mama's Canning. I don't know about y'all, but in Kentucky, it is 500 degrees in the shade.
So in the spirit of all things hot, let's make some cowboy candy.
Before we get started, we're going to give you a Worn Out Mama tip, and it's called hot hands.
When you cut up an abundance of hot peppers, all of the juice from the peppers can get on your hands, and then it'll make them sting throughout the night.
Now, this doesn't happen to everybody,
but it happened to me. If you're going to do an abundance of peppers, I recommend you wear gloves, and that'll avoid all the hot hands.
Nobody wants a hot hand.
For this recipe, you're going to need about 3 pounds of jalapenos.
Now let's talk about prepping our jalapenos. First, with anything, you're going to wash your produce really well. You're going to check for any bad spots and go ahead and cut that out.
Next, you're going to want to slice your jalapenos. Now, you're going to slice the top and you're going to slice the little bitty tip on the bottom as well.
You don't want a hard crunch in your cowboy candy.
When you slice your jalapenos, you're going to slice them to your liking. So all of ours are about 1/4 inch thick, but you can slice them however thick you'd like them. Now that we've prepped and sliced our jalapenos, let's go ahead and start our brine.
First, you're going to need 2 cups of apple cider vinegar.
Then you're going to need 6 cups of sugar, which I know sounds like a lot of sugar, but just remember, y'all, this is candied jalapenos.
Then you're going to need 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric.
And then you're going to need 1/2 teaspoon of celery seed.
2 teaspoons of garlic powder.
And 1 teaspoon of red pepper flakes.
Now we're going to give it a good mix of love.
Once it's all mixed up, we're going to head over to the stove and bring it to a boil. Once it begins to boil, we're going to turn the heat on down and let it simmer for about 5 minutes. While we're waiting on our brine to boil, let's go ahead and prep our jars.
We started by washing our jars with soap and water.
After they're washed, we're going to sanitize them.
You're going to do that by putting them in the water bath canner for 10 minutes. That sterilizes them for your canning.
Keep stirring our brine so it doesn't burn.
But our 5 minutes is almost up. So when that 5 minutes is up, we're going to put our jalapenos in the brine and wait for it to get to a boil.
Once it started boiling, let those boil for about 4 minutes.
After that 4 minutes, we're going to take the jalapenos out and start putting them in our jars.
Now that you've pulled those peppers off that brine, you're going to continue to let the brine boil for about 6 minutes, and we're going to put our peppers in the jars.
Now that our 6 minutes is up, we're going to start filling our jars with the brine. We're going to leave about a 1/2 inch headspace on each of these jars. Golly, we sure do have a lot of brine left over. Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I think so.
Cowgirl Candy. Now we're going to get all the bubbles out of our jars. We're going to do this by using a butter knife and just going around all the edges of our jar. You can do this with an air bubbling tool that we've talked about in some of our previous videos, or a lot of people use different things.
Once Megan's done getting all those air bubbles out, I'm going to go ahead and clean off the rims of our jars. I put a little white vinegar on a paper towel, and I'm just going to clean them all off.
Once we've got all of these steps done, we're going to put our lids on and our rings on finger tight.
And then it's time for the water bath.
Now it's time to process our jars.
We're going to stick these in the water bath for about 10 minutes.
Now that our processing time is done, we've got our jars out on the counter and we're listening for that sweet pop.
Once you hear that sweet pop, that means your job's done. Thank you for watching Worn Out Mama's Canning. Like and subscribe.
And don't forget to hit that bell.
And y'all come back tomorrow because we're making
Cowgirl Candy.
It's just as sweet.
But half the heat.
Thanks
y'all.